way to do that is just to play their game, just to lick up to them, just to say, you're so right, how did you get to be so clever, and so on and so on and so on. So my advice is, you know, one of those, my personal you know, answer to your question would be I would have stayed away from it, because all they've done is make me bitter, angry and twisted.
You should turn this
Well, you know me well, there's no bitter, angry or twisted in me. The answer to anybody in the room who is, you know, get some consultant. I mean, my sister's a consultant. I mean, I hate to tell you that. Consultants know 40 ways to have sex, but they don't know any women, you know. Get some consultant who knows how to, my sister's a particularly good example, who knows how to talk.
She doesn't know any men, is that what you're saying?
Well, no. My sister knows plenty of men. Get somebody who knows how to talk to these people and pay that person to talk to them. And if I had to go one step further, I don't even go to the meetings anymore. I just don't even turn up, because I always say the wrong thing and I'm always perceived in the wrong way. Who's wrong, them or me? I don't know.
Can I just make an observation? I'm not here to lick up to anybody from CIDO or otherwise, but I do know that they do help some people, and that's fine and dandy and great. I think what they should take on board, and I'm sure Paul and whoever's involved with it do take on board, that there are the people that really need support at this time, when all those other routes and troughs have been ploughed, that they need people like Philip. And is there, and I'd like to ask them a question, is there a route for people like Philip who has that different idea, who has that dynamic idea, or are your hands tied by this is the policy and this is the hoops they have to jump through?
I suppose one of the answers to that is that most of the funds and all sorts of resources are funneled from one direction, and they make the policy and the decisions, and it's quite difficult to therefore manage the business that's different, or the person or the entrepreneur that wants to be slightly different. And there tends to have been, in the past anyway, it's a one-size-fits-all approach. There are a lot of people trying to make changes to that, and I think right at the top, and the man who's now leading Invest NI is intending to make those changes. So we're all looking forward to seeing it's not being a one-size-for-all approach in the near future. I hope that's not too, I haven't meant to be too obscure.
If I can answer that very honestly, it's about education, and people like yourselves who come and listen to the people who sort of know about these things are now educated. The people that I'm going to see have never been to a non-conference, and do you know what? They don't know what a non-conference is, they don't know what freemium is, they don't know what Web 2.0 is, they don't know what the real-time web is, they don't know, and do you know what else they don't do? They don't ask, right? They just say, that's all a bit crazy. I've got a product called Froggy Feet, an open source product which I'm going to launch on a Creative Croaking license, and using a Froggian, right, method of distribution. Right? I do not mention that in the halls of Invest Northern Ireland. I just do not mention that because it's too difficult for them. If they said to me, Philip, I do not understand what you're telling me, what you're about, how you're going to make money, and I'm sorry, I would agree with them. But they just say, you're an idiot, get out of my office. And that's where I have
Philip, I'm glad to hear about the Froggian. It's a riveting idea, but I don't know what freemium is.
Freemium is Thomas? Yeah, Thomas gave a brilliant example. Google give everything away for free. One of my investors said to me, I said, give me 100,000 quid. He said, what are you doing? I said, I'm doing this thing called Froggy Feet. And he said, what is freemium? And I explained it to him. He says, so Phil, it's like this. You get files of crack cocaine, really good quality stuff, and you give it away free until everybody's addicted, and then they all have to come to you to get their really high quality crack cocaine. That man didn't invest in me, but he did dance. He did dance down the Malone Road, shouting "Froggy Feet, Froggy Feet." Google is the best example of freemium that you can come across. They give you your search results for free, and then they tie you in with the thing you talked about. I'm a Google freak. I have been since 2005. It's £33 a year, Well, £33 a year to Google, and this man that come and set it up is just absolutely outstanding. As opposed, and 25 gig of hosting, so you could host a small family in Bangalore in 25 gig of just outstanding. And they use that. There are lots. I'm trying to think on my feet here of lots of other examples of freemium. Google would be the best. Linux and things like that would be a good example, and so on as well. Slightly different example.
So one further thing, just to go on to the previous question that you asked me. After you've been through the
all my questions were rhetorical.
Go for other programs. What I know for a fact is that here at CIDO, is Catherine there? I'm not just saying it because she's standing over me. What I know for a fact is that after you've been through the programs here, the door is always open for you to phone, come in and get more advice and help. And it might only just be a listening ear. Hey, and I think Nicola might have said that. You know, I'm thinking about what is so and so. Can you point me in the right direction or whatever? And for all the vagaries and the things that may not be 100% right with some of the business start programs, the personalities that are certainly running them in this facility are really, really committed to helping people in their business.
It goes back to geolocation. If you're in Draperstown, you can be a really good consultant, helper, investor with my own and the closer you get to Belfast, I think they put all the that's a sort of an upside down.
Sorry, Nicola. We are not investing in
Yes. We fund or we deliver some of the programs, some of the stuff like everybody that they do is excellent. I am not a client with them, so I can't take any view of that. But what I will say is any programs that we have, and I have a few clients around me here, we try and deliver them. We don't try and box people. What we can do, we will do as much as we can for you. Today happened because I have a facility that I can give to you, and I wanted to get that across as well. If we can help any businesses, we do that for you. But you're right, it's a personality thing as well.
I'm here today to talk about getting things started. It just so happened that we had a question about things that don't help to get started.
But the conversation started, and that's really all that counts.
Well, one thing that I would say to you is that, you know, I went to Paul, who in turn went to Catherine, with the Bizcamp idea, and I can tell you that there were virtually no questions asked. It was, what is it? Okay, what's the idea? How does this happen? Right, let's try it.
Can I ask a question relevant to what Eve said very much earlier on in the conversation? We're a nation that doesn't complain. Have you verbally, sensibly? Well then, have you asked politely, and have you made it known to other sources? Because that's what we all have a responsibility. If that agency isn't working for me, and I know people that it does work for, not its name has been mentioned here. I have the deepest respect for CIDO. Went through a course here with them and do get that response. I'm sure there are people who do get some sort of response through Invest Northern Ireland. Have you visibly, verbally done it?
Now this is maybe just off the top of my head, I'm sure I wrote something about as much use as Iris Robinson's diplomacy advisor. I'm sure I wrote that and sent it in, and all my other. I mean, I tend to publish these things on the web, but I'm not here to. I'm not here to knock investing. I'm here to tell you about starting and getting things happening. What I would say, you know, I got £100,000 worth of private equity funding. It was £525,000 worth of private equity funding in Northern Ireland last year. Okay, surely the man in Investment in Ireland should have phoned up and said, I hear you got £100,000. That's a quarter of all the stuff that went out in the province last year. Can I come and see you on Tuesday? He didn't. All right.
Still, I know there's a difference between the enterprise agencies and the beast of Bedford Street, as we call it. So just know that. And personally, I love the enterprise agencies and hate I&I, but I just wanted to ask, I see the people who told you that, you know, your business, you're an idiot, your business is rubbish, and I&I, have any of them actually ever started a business themselves?
No, not
certainly haven't started one like mine.
Guys, I think you're being very harsh on them. And the reason I think we're being harsh is because we put them in that position. If you ever, I did a lot of work in presenting for Enterprise Ireland and the Invest in I equivalent in the Republic of Ireland. And when they come to conferences like this, they're the keynote. If they came here, they'd be kicked to death. And the problem is that whenever there is,